Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel, where I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And this has been a week of just unbelievable fucking horrors. So, just for my own mental health, I think we're going to focus on some other bullshit for an hour and a half tonight. Hi River Rune, hello Rotten Mouse, happy lurking. And I've dug up some new stuff. Some assholes we're familiar with. Some assholes we're less that we haven't actually looked at on here before. And we're going to check them out. Let me just also tell you, before we get started, about, if you haven't already heard, I've got a new crowdfunded translation project on the go. It's the writings of Inessa Armand, who was Alexandra Kollontai's predecessor at the Grenadier of the Bolsheviks, and her stuff has never been translated. Not into English, anyway. Into French and apparently into German it's been translated, but not into English. Until now, I've done 4 of her essays so far, which are available on my Patreon in PDF format. And I'm going to be doing a whole bunch more. I'm trying to raise a total of about $8,500 to cover the cost of translating and editing them, and also just the cost of keeping myself afloat during what continue to be very difficult times. So, signal boosting of the project, and also like donations and stuff like that, much appreciated, though nobody should feel bad if they're not able to, because everybody's having an extremely rough time. But if you want to signal boost it, you can also, here's the video I did on the project. And with that, I've got a number of options for assholes and their special bullshit. We've got Cooking Up a Storm, the restaurant industry crisis with Chef Andrew Gruel. Great fucking name right there, no notes. That's PragerU. We've got Actual Justice Warrior, who I've never done on here, but he seems like a really amazing asshole. So there's Leftist Cry about Anna Kasparian, and you know that you're really doing that. There's absolutely nothing right wing going on when you are getting praised by Actual Justice Warrior and fucking Tim Pool and them. There's also Woke Kindergarten Destroys School District. Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens agree to debate anti-Semitism after Schultz roast with John Nolte on Pim Tool. Timcast URL, the first podcast with fully AI voice cast on show, but the AI is really, really stupid, which I suppose means that it fits. I mean, it's on brand, I guess. The View says men are useless, says women don't need men, after reviewing viral video. And then we've got Liberty Hangout, Caitlin, the gun girl. You'll remember from some years ago, she decided that she wanted to, like, grift her way into the hearts of the reactionary community by bringing a rifle to Kent State, university where people are kind of, one of the things it's best known for is the time that the National Guard shot a bunch of anti-war protesters there. And her big thing is mostly that she goes around just getting sort of humiliated by random liberals. Then there's Caitlin Goes to Pride, and No Longer an Atheist, My Journey to Faith. A lot of these grifters are doing this now. The right-wing atheist community, the more enterprising, entrepreneurial of them, seem to be realizing that they've got to shift gears because the right-wing atheists aren't where the money's at. Like Richard Dawkins is also said he's no longer an atheist, he's a cultural Christian, whatever the fuck that means. I mean, racist, I guess. And then we've also got Math Gets Woke in Virginia. So, what's everyone's pleasure? What out of all those options do any sound good? And let me just want to support the project. Here is where you can leave me a tip. Anyway, so we got Liberty Hangout with Caitlin, the embarrassing gun girl. We've got The View on why. Okay, Tim Pool talking about how The View says men are useless. I'm also kind of curious about the first Tim Pool podcast with fully AI voice guest on show. That seems like it could be like ridiculous. And then the woke kindergarten that destroyed an entire school district. Like Godzilla, I guess. I mean, those are ones that I'm curious about, but I'd like to hear what you're curious about, chat. Which ones are tickling your fancy? Yes, well, I mean, he has been culturally cringe for a long time now, Dawkins has. It's just such an impressive little grift that he's got going on that he had to, like, completely reinvent the main thing about him. So, any particular preferences? I mean, of course, we've also got Andrew Gruel, a chef called Andrew Gruel, talking about the restaurant industry's crisis on PragerU. And I'm wondering what the crisis is. Wonder if it's like, I wonder how they're going to blame it on woke. Because I think the idea these days is that everything that goes wrong from their perspective is somehow blamed on woke. Yes, I'm thinking I'm kind of curious about why men are useless. I think we're gonna start out with finding out why men are useless, according to The View, and why Tim Pool is angry about it, despite being an not exactly. You can't really say that Tim Pool is a counter example.
The Raymond G. Stanley Jr.'s got the clip for us. Let's play this clip and we'll talk a bit about it.
Useless.
Do we need men? We need a man?
No.
Do we need men?
Okay, that we might not need men, but we do need some more like definition. So there, we've got the screen resolution a little bit better.
No.
Women need men in this world. Do we need men?
I don't know that.
No.
Why?
Probably.
Because we can be strong, independent women.
There's this clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question. Do we need men? Most...
Like, I mean, literally nobody on here provides a strong argument against. I mean, if this is like the sort of full spectrum of dudes we're looking at, I think we could do pretty well without them, in fact.
Answered very quickly.
I mean, we've got fucking Wojak meme who decorates his wall in a way that is designed to make 12-year-old boys think he's a cool guy. We've got dude who seems to be dressed way too warm for indoors. I don't know who that guy is. We've got dude on the bottom right who's like who looks like he just got woken up after going on like a 6-week bender. And then we've got the guy who donated an arm to Trogdor. You know, Trogdor has that beefy arm randomly sticking out of him. This is the guy who Trogdor got that arm from.
No. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives. Only one. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean, and by the way, I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men, because I think I would die without gay men.
I have Handy Manny at home. He fixes everything. When things go bump in the night, he's the one that goes downstairs. When there's
Like, okay.
a bug to be exterminated, he
This
does.
is, okay, first of all, okay, they're about to get very angry about this, I can tell. Although Dimple looks like he's about to fall asleep now. And, like, replacement weed lord, I guess? I don't know who this dude is, but he does look kind of stoned out of his gourd, so we're gonna say he's replacement weed lord. That is our official designation for him, I think. Yeah, it looks like he's possibly, like, a bit queasy. Maybe he didn't finish puking last night. Oh, okay. I get to introduce you to a wonderful world. Strong Bad. Look up. Actually, fuck it. It's short. We'll watch it right now because Strong Bad is a wonderful thing. I like Strong Bad. Strong Bad Dragon. We're just gonna look at this, so you can see who Trogdor is. See, this was a thing. I'm absolutely pumped that I get to introduce you to this, because this was one of the best things on the internet like 20 years ago. And the guy who made this, he's still making stuff on YouTube. He has this thing where he plays old games. But here we go.
Here I go once again with the email. Every week I hope that it's from a female. Oh man, it's not from a female. Hey Strongbad, can you draw a dragon? I want to see your skills of an artist.
See, Strong Bad, the whole gimmick was he would reply to these emails, which he would read in a very snarky sort of a way, and then the cartoon would be loosely based on the email. So now, okay, here we go.
Okay. Well, G2G, Geyser from California. A dragon? That's easy. Feel free to follow along with my simple step-by-step instructions. I make drawing fun. To begin, draw an S for snake. Or dragon. Whatever. Next, we'll draw a more different S. For the head, put a top mark on a long V. Then you add some legs, throw on a couple of arms, and... Whoa. Wait a minute. I think I need to start over. This thing doesn't look natural.
Okay. The S is for socks. Here, and I'm just gonna drop this link in chat because this is a channel that is all Strong Bad stuff. This is pre-YouTube, but he's uploaded the lot to YouTube.
Okay, starting again, the same way. S, more different S. Close it up real good at the top for his head, and then, using consummate V's, give him teeth, spinities, and angry eyebrows. And you can add smoke or fire, or maybe some wings. You know, if he's a wing-a-ling dragon. Let's put one of those beefy arms back on him for good measure.
Yes, the beefy arm in question.
That looks really good. Coming out of the back of his neck there. Now he needs a name. How about Trogdor the Burninator? Oh yeah. Check out all his majesty. There's my dragon, Kaiser.
It goes on, but that and you can watch at the link. You can find the whole thing. But that's Trogdor, and this is Strong Bad, which is just. I mean, there's a Strong Bad meme page on Facebook, and
the Raymond G. Stanley.
I was quite happy to see. Actually, I mean, it's quite, you know, when you run into like a creator you remember from 20 years ago, you kind of wonder, are they gonna start like Are they on the reactionary tip and they're gonna start talking about how like have complaining about woke or something like that? And no, actually, I have to say, like the guy behind Homestar Runner and Strong Bad seems pretty wholesome. Welcome back. We were just learning who Trogdor is because the guy on the bottom left here, canonically, is where the beefy arm on the back of Trogdor's neck comes from.
I would die without gay men.
I have Handy Manny at home. No, he is.
We already saw
to
this
be.
shit.
Wait a second. I know what you're going to say, but wait. She's really talking about a servant. Let's face it.
No.
It's a handyman she's talking
no,
about.
it's a handy manny.
Oh, it's a handyman with benefits.
We do not have. I need my man 3 to 4 times a week. And good for you guys. Broadly speaking, I feel like men have proven largely useless. Like,
I all in favor of sending the cast of The View into a sewer to deal with rat kings and blockages.
Because Tim Pool would totally be on that. He would totally, I mean, he just wants to go down to the sewer to deal with rat kings and blockages.
Or how about to an oil refinery?
How about to a gulag? I think that'd be a good place for them.
Well,
wait, what?
I mean, putting him in prison for having bad opinions. I'm saying
I'm all fine. Here,
these women have lived such pampered lives, and the voting patterns of many women reflect the sacrifices men have made for them.
Oh, do they, Tim? Let's hear about it.
While shielding not all women, certainly not all women, shielding many women from the harsh realities of conflict and crisis and heavy lifting and machinery.
I mean, that's like literally this is what he's got. Heavy lifting and machinery. I seem to remember actually there are women who use machinery and do some fairly heavy lifting as well. I mean, just look at the women's weightlifting at the Commonwealth Games.
And the injuries that come in the workplace, especially with like...
Because women famously never have injuries at the workplace.
The overwhelmingly male oil refinery job with a high rate of death. And they're shielded from it, laughing, saying, we don't need men. I propose we give them what they've asked for a small period so they can figure out, do they really need men or not?
And Hannah, Claire, do women need men?
Of course they do. I mean, this is what I find really interesting about these arguments is this is like, the
arguments, I mean, let's just start out with the fact that they're basically joking here. I mean, this is obviously a fucking joke. So they're not like literally saying let's like get rid of all the men. But of course we're not going to do that.
think they're scoring points with the other young women in the room, right? They're doing this for clout amongst themselves, but
wait, okay, so the idea is that even though obviously there is no women obviously do absolutely need men, because I mean all men are going down into the sewers and sorting out the blockages, because we couldn't do that apparently, but okay, so for some reason this opinion is so popular amongst women in general that you can chase clout with it. Yeah, Tim Pool is obviously useless. Like, I mean, I'd love to see him go down into a fucking sewer and remove a blockage.
But in reality, like, at least two of them are married. They must have thought they needed a man in some form. And I think fundamentally this is a really
yeah, because they're fucking joking.
Divisive conversation, right? It reminds me of the way the Democrats are like, we are such a divided country because of the Republicans. It's their fault. Like, it's the same logic here. Like,
that's the thing. I mean, the thing about the Tim Pool Variety Hour is he would never do anything divisive. He doesn't like divisiveness.
Women and men don't get along, but I'm just going to talk nasty about this one side, right? Like, if men were to walk around being like, men don't need women, they would...
You mean like a lot of men often do? Like, I'm sure... Look, there are 15 minutes in this, and we're only 2 minutes and 55 seconds in. I am pretty sure at some point one of these guys is going to say something like that.
Either women would be like, you're gay, or they'd be like, how could you say that? We give life. We do all these things. Like, I think men and women are meant to be in partnership. There's a reason they're complementary. And I think this is a really arrogant way to behave. I don't like it. I think it's gross.
And it's true, but let's be honest. Men have invented artificial wombs. So now the question is, do men need women?
Well,
No. I mean, first of all, I don't think that is specifically all men who invented artificial wombs, and my understanding is they're not actually operational yet.
We can grow babies in a petri dish.
This is so much deeper than where we're going here, because this train of thought is...
That is true. It is way deeper than they will ever go on any subject.
The reason our society is where it's at right now. The feminist movement has killed society. Men need to be masculine. We need toxic masculinity. We need...
You don't know what that is, clearly.
Men to be fathers. You look at all the discrepancies with the inner city and violence.
Oh, I wonder what he means there.
It all comes down to fathers. It all comes down to men. This thinking that we do not need strong men.
Fun fact, since what he's like doing the racist stereotype thing, where supposedly, racists like to claim that black men are disproportionately like absentee fathers. And the thing is, actually, it is literally the opposite of that. There have been actual studies on it, and black fathers are actually more likely to be involved in their kids' lives than white dudes.
Men in society is what's killing our society. So that's why I said...
Wait, how is it... the society was dead a second ago. Now it's killing our society. The society, in just these couple of minutes that he's been talking, the society has started to be resuscitated. This is the life-giving power of beefy armed dude.
The gulags. Send them off. First of all, no man wants to go, and no man's been down there in a while for any of those women.
No, down there. What is he, 5?
I mean, that's got to be nasty down there. But I'm really tired of hearing this. It's really just, as a guy who literally my entire life is centered around me providing for and protecting my family. This is just, it upsets me to the core. It makes me want to violate terms of service on YouTube.
I mean, why stop now? If terms of service on YouTube were actually enforced, basically all of the people I look at on this stream would not have an account anymore.
That's how much it affects.
Save it for the after show.
Well,
Just to have an ounce of nuance here, I do think there is a good amount of selection bias going on here. I think this is like, you're out on the town, there, some dude's shoving a phone in your face. Do women need men? Like,
Well,
I also
and in a liberal city,
understand.
like-
What, you're saying that maybe they looked at a specific collection of responses?
Fair
Like,
point.
go
You go
to-
Because I also
go to a
talk to
more
people-
conservative city
go to a
and like see
church.
how girls respond.
Yeah, go to a different.
They're all
Also,
gonna say
with the
yes.
way
What? Okay, where?
these women are dressed, I'm not. It just implies a setting, which.
But I don't care about the women. The view is
The
what
view
matters.
is the problem. These
then
girls are whatever.
The women also don't want to be seen saying
Man, that motherfucker's shoulders look like poppin' fresh muffins.
on camera now. It's like, oh, I need a man. It kind of makes them look bad in a messed
Like,
up.
what does it also mean to need a man? Like, in the abstract. Like, what exactly does that even mean? Like, I'm doing fine without one, for example. I have not found any particular use for them. That does not mean, I mean, there are men I actually quite like, but I have not found myself in a situation where I've found any of them to be totally indispensable to whatever I was trying to do. And in a way that if they weren't men, it would not be possible. So what the fuck does it even mean? And why is it these guys will never actually turn that around? Yeah, well, the entire question is just bullshit.
Right.
Psyche way.
That's part of the
Among
problem.
two other women, like that's the weirdest thing out of all of it is that they are looking to each other and being like, well, if I admit that I need a man, like I think they take issue with the
they don't want to sound
then they
needy.
think that they sound weak, and then therefore they're all going against feminism, which is a correct. ideology anyway.
Can I pull this up real quick? This is a council member from NYC, Amanda.
Okay, where are the men calling this out? Reports of attacks against women in New York City have been confirmed by the NYPD. I wonder who the attacks are by, Tim Pool. I wonder who the attacks on women were by. I have a feeling they were not by women.
Farias saying, where are the men calling this out in response to the women
they
getting
don't
punched
need
in the
them, I
face?
thought.
The Women's Caucus tweeted, we are deeply disturbed and concerned about widespread reports of attacks against women in New York City that have been confirmed by the NYPD. So where are the men calling this out? Oh, there's one.
That's right. Because Tim Pool, the Tim Pool cast is a Subway Strangler stand space. He is really big into the Subway Strangler. He's a big fan of the Subway Strangler, and I love his whole argument is that you need Subway Stranglers, because otherwise there's going to be crime. Non-strangling related crime. He's cool with there being strangling related crime on the subway, at least when it's like white dudes from fucking Long Island doing it. But yeah.
You arrested him. And look at these scumbags. This guy right here, scumbag. This guy right here, these cops are scumbags.
Well, I mean, they are cops. I really can't. But why are these two guys specifically? I mean, that's interesting because Tim Pool isn't exactly ACAB friendly. I wonder what it could be about these two particular cops that make them scumbags to Tim Pool.
Sorry, and we're tomorrow morning on the Culture War, we got some cops on, and we're going to debate policing. But sorry, if I was a cop and they said you're going to be transporting Daniel Penn, I say the hell I am.
Hey
Find somebody
Tim,
else.
we're just following orders though.
No dice. Don't play that game. They're going to be like, well, you got to do it or you're fired. I'll be like, by all means, you go ahead and fire me. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say I got fired because I refused to take part in the arrest of an innocent man.
He wasn't innocent. I mean, this is new. He's not previously been a Subway Strangler truther. I mean, previously his defense was it was good that he strangled that dude because you can't have poor black people who are having mental health crises on the subway without getting strangled by white dudes. Now he's innocent. Now that's a new twist. And
who was trying to save lives in a city plagued by corruption.
He killed a dude though.
Corruption and crime. But these cops got no problem. They got no problem justifying in their mind why they should be the one to hold this innocent man, this good Samaritan with cuffs behind.
Good Samaritan? Wow. I mean, the amount to have somebody look at you the way that Tim Pool looks at the Subway Strangler.
Behind his back. Scumbags. And then they say, where are the men calling this out? You don't need men.
Well, I mean, I just can't help noticing that the people who are doing the attacks are almost certainly overwhelmingly men. And you just showed an example of the sort of violent, like, you're not really helping your case, Tim. That's all I'm saying.
You don't need them. You arrested them. That's how much they don't need them. Well, these women on The View.
Well, in fact, if they didn't have, I mean, this is such a silly framing in the first place. Let's just start with that. But, like, it is almost the attacks against women. I wonder who those are by, Tim. I wonder if men might be anything to do with that.
You say we don't need men, and it is to the point where politically they are arresting the men who are trying to protect them.
Protect them from who? Protect them from who exactly? I mean, there's a famous, it's like a late 19th century, like, women's suffrage campaigner who, I forget her name. I'm sure you could find it fairly easily, and I could too if I could be bothered to Google it. But, so she finished addressing a meeting, and a friend of hers, a male friend of hers, said, okay, let me know when you're ready, I'll escort you home. And she says, oh no, I'm fine, I'll go on my own. He goes, but it's men's role to protect women. And she says, from whom though? And apparently he had nothing to say after that. Tim Pool, on the other hand, has something to say because he wants more subway stranglers. Because that'll make the world safe for women. Because, like, subway stranglers never target women.
Protest for him, by the way. Nobody came out. You know, also, a lot of people like...
Well, I'm sure a lot of Nazis came out. And also, let's just remember, the newspapers suppressed his name and made him out to be a fucking hero for like a day and a half after that. The only reason that he was exposed and arrested is because people in the community said, this is fucked up, identified him, and demanded that he be arrested because they were going to let him go. They were going to let him off and just not do anything about it.
To talk about, I mean, Ryan has a nice post here, but nobody's protesting for this guy.
Yeah, because he's a fucking prick. Although, last I checked, you're kind of protesting for him. I mean, you're kind of a nobody, I guess. Like, nobody anyone should give a fuck about. But you're sitting here, you're like on the pro Strangler, you're on Team Strangler.
His fundraiser did pretty well.
People were protesting for the person who he...
Yeah, of course his fucking fundraiser did well. Because the thing is, the people who think it is a good thing to have, like, white dudes going around strangling random black dudes in the fucking subway are also, they tend to have money to throw behind that opinion.
Killed, who was threatening, I believe, other people.
No, he wasn't. He was fucking talking about how his mother had died and how he was kind of desperate and didn't know what the hell to do. He was somebody who everybody on that particular train already knew because he was something of a community fixture. He would sing. I think he did like Michael Jackson impressions. Like, he was well known. He was not somebody who... So, I mean, he strangled a guy whose whole thing was that people knew him because he sang for, he sang for his supper, basically. Like, this motherfucker that they're standing here, I've never heard him sing.
Jordan Neely said that he would something to the effect of wanting to kill people and he didn't care what would happen to him.
There were protests for him.
That's not what he said. That's not what he actually said. This is just a lie that they're making up. It's very cute.
Nobody showed up to protest.
Well, because I think you could go back to the fact that people who can't afford to take time of their day to protest, like, think about the people who are supporting this guy.
Yeah, I love how they're just sort of making the point that they're arguing against by the fact that, if you noticed, the woman who calls herself the redheaded libertarian, who does not have red hair, she pointed out that actually his fundraiser was doing really well, and they're just totally ignoring her.
We generally have jobs.
Yes.
And I also don't want to get arrested.
You don't have a job. This shit isn't a job.
If I'm at a protest and somebody hits me, I'm going to hit them back. I'm going to be arrested.
Sure.
Except the thing is, we've just established that the only reason this guy got arrested for strangling somebody was that there was widespread protest over the fact that they were hailing him as a fucking hero.
You just did a Kyle Rittenhouse thing?
I was at a Kyle Rittenhouse protest yesterday at Western Kentucky University.
I watched your video.
Oh yes, Kyle Shittentraus has been, I mean, it's great. He's such a brave man, that Kyle Shittentraus. Every time he shows up to, like, go to one of these, like, fucking paid speaking engagements where he's getting paid off the fact that he's a mass shooter who got away with it. And, people protest and he runs away. It's a great scene.
No, they have no idea what they're talking about. They're wrong about everything. They're claiming they
Then why don't you have him on the show? I mean, that sounds like they're perfect.
They claim he killed black people and he's racist and stuff like that. It's all...
No, he is racist. He took a gun to shoot people at an anti-racist protest. Nobody's claiming he killed black people. What people are saying is he showed up specifically for the purpose of putting people who are protesting over racist police terror in fear for their lives. And then he fucking killed some people and got away with it.
All lies, all not true.
Many of them were saying specifically that he's, like, funded by the KKK.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Which kind of does... doesn't make sense. And also,
Why doesn't that make sense? Are we going to explain why the KKK wouldn't want to, like, fund a white nationalist mass shooter who got away with it?
so there's, I do think it makes sense though that
The right is the conspiracy
well,
side.
that like BLM types are anti-Rittenhouse, although he didn't kill any black people.
Well, maybe that's because BLM types don't like it when people get murdered? Like, there are people who would be alive now if Kyle Rittenhouse had not been able to get a gun that day. Like, literally, that's the only... He's the reason those motherfuckers are dead.
The white people he killed were effectively pro-BLM.
Yeah.
So,
Well, effectively. Yeah, they were at the fucking protest. They literally went to the protest. And yeah, when people get murdered for going to a protest, the people that are in the movement that they're a part of tend to have feelings about that. In fact, I mean, one of the reasons that de-escalation is the counterinsurgency strategy of choice at protests in the U.S. for the most part is precisely because the experience of the U.S. military in occupied territories dealing with protests is that it's better if you can avoid martyrs, because martyrs galvanize movements. They are mobilizing. And so they try, for the most part, not to kill people at the protest, to do other things, intimidate them in other ways, mass arrest, kettling, all that shit. But try not to kill anyone, for the most part. And for the most part, they don't. This is actually, I mean, there's that bullshit meme that goes around that tries to suggest that the reason that, that protests are tame here is that it is that the cops are unusually violent, which is kind of wild in international comparison because, I mean, even domestically, that doesn't make sense because the people who are most likely to be killed by cops also have a long history of having the most militant protests in this country. But then you go to places like Chile or Palestine, for example, where the cops are way more violent at protests than here, and people are also way more militant. So that whole meme that goes around every couple of years is just such nonsense. But the point is, yes, it turns out that martyrs galvanized movements.
so in a sense, it does make
The
sense.
logic is maybe that
In a sense, it does make sense. Yes, thank you. It is kind of obvious that maybe people in a movement might have a bone to pick with somebody who murdered people from that movement.
they're pretty shaky.
Yeah. So.
Pretty shaky on... Why? What do you mean pretty shaky, though? I mean, we just established he killed a bunch of BLM protesters.
I think, is it soft of me to say, like, a female version of Daniel Penny would be nice? Like, a girl to protect me? Why does the man always say... Like, if the woman was armed,
We're getting an interesting view into this random dude's... Like, who... Does anyone know who this guy even is? I've never seen him before. But, I mean... We're getting some insights into this dude's FetLife profile.
could be the bait, and then the one gets... No?
To be fair, a lot
He's a
to be a
handsome
trophy
man.
husband.
No,
so
like-
if you're a wealthy woman looking for a husband, this is a
No,
lot.
and then, I mean...
Yeah, but why?
And like, I could bait the person, people are arguing with me, and then she could light him up for me.
That's real feminism. That's a
real-
male ally.
That's not a male ally, though. Like, that's not how... That's just literally... Leaving aside the liberal nonsense that goes under the name of ally politics, that's not how that actually works. The point of allies isn't that they start shit that you then have to finish.
Feminism, yeah. I don't want to carry the firearm. It would be hot for the
kinda hot,
woman,
yeah.
too.
It's
Yeah,
kinda
yeah.
hot, yeah.
Do you think he has any...
It's like
think-
some
I think-
Scarlett Johansson stuff.
I think that if you look at divorce rates and you look at the
disavow.
opinions of women, typically situations where it's rare the situation where the man is in the stay-at-home role or the non-provider role, like it doesn't tend to work. And I think what the data shows is that guys feel insecure if they're not providing. And
Well, so the problem is then that the guys feel insecure because they're being expected to do something that people aren't always in a position to do. And maybe that's actually not great for the guys, though. Maybe it would be good if guys were, understood that actually they don't always have to be the one to do that because others are actually able to fill that, Yeah, there doesn't need to be a vacuum to fill. Other people can also do it.
And women tend to feel unsatisfied if they're not receiving more.
Would she not respect
Receiving more what? Exactly.
me if she was carrying instead of me?
Okay, this is the thing.
Would
I
she
think the
divorce me
protection thing
and
is
she'd
so
get the
interesting because
firearm?
when I was younger and like full of life and fearless, like I thought about it less when I was dating people, and now that I'm older, like I think it was like
But I mean, who are you needing protection against?
I don't know, somewhere in my mid 20s I was like, no, the ability to protect me and like the steps that they actively take to
Against
defend
what?
themselves and the people they care about, like this is something I now think about a lot when dating.
Yeah, I mean, if I were hanging around these dudes, I would be thinking about the need for protection too. Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, fucking between all of them. I mean, for one thing, we're on our way to Tim Pool talking about how he and his friends can't get laid, but then saying that actually that's not their problem, but they keep on talking about it for other reasons. It's other guys who are having that problem. I mean, see, you know, if this were the circle I would hang out on, yeah, I would definitely want to be packing, because that's just, that can't possibly go well.
Because it's an investment in my future, my safety, the safety of my property, and the safety of my future children, right? Like, when I was younger, I would have been like, yeah, maybe it'd be cool if she carried a gun, but probably you're weak for not doing it. But
like,
now I think of it as like, major ick. Would not go for, sorry.
Well, like, why? What, I literally, just on a pure lexicosemantic level, did not follow that fucking, like, what? I didn't actually understand anything.
I think this shifts into a macro problem, where we as individuals, we say like an individual should have their rights, but what happens then, en masse, women, maybe because they're all being pressured to say we don't need no man or something like that.
Chat, any of you been pressured to say we don't need no man?
Or they genuinely believe
I
it,
haven't.
or maybe you have many women who are shielded from the harsh realities because men are doing the jobs like crawling around sewers.
You think there aren't any women crawling around in sewers?
I'd like to see what The View has to say. If
I mean, like, Tim Pool, that's what you just have to keep in mind is what Tim Pool does when he's not, like, talking shit on the internet, is that he's crawling around in sewers, because that's what a man does.
men just did not work for a month. I mean, look, how many episodes of like that Survivor show have they done? I'm not talking about the show Survivor. They did a bunch of these shows where they got two islands and they put men on one and women on the other.
Wow, okay, reality TV, this is such a great piece of evidence he's offering. The thing is, like, the people that they're talking about were actually being tongue-in-cheek. These people are actually serious about it.
And then what ends up happening is the women get lost,
I'll
start
fight.
crying, and the men within like an hour have a bar set up and are sitting there sipping on coconuts and they have a fire going.
Yeah, it didn't happen. I mean, I think he's talking about Gilligan's Island, actually. He thinks Gilligan's Island was heady sociological research, apparently.
And the women are. There was one I watched that was so brutal. The women were like they're trying to find supplies or whatever, and they get lost in the jungle, and they walk in circles. And then once they loop back and hit one of their markers, they start breaking down and just start crying.
So what? Like, okay. You do realize this shit is edited.
Have you seen all these studies that came out recently about how the 8 hour, like you need 8 hours of sleep was actually based on men, and women actually need 9 to 10 hours of sleep a night?
Yeah.
Like, we're different. We do different things
That isn't actually all that recent.
for a reason, and it's great.
Well, except the thing is also women are less likely to get that because, like, what they of course leave out is that women do a whole lot of do a whole lot of completely unacknowledged work, whether or not they're actually doing anything paid outside of the home. And like basically the reason that any of these dudes well, I don't want to say, I was going to say can wipe their asses, but these guys probably think that's gay. They probably don't wipe their asses.
different.
Another reason that it would be just a wonderful environment for a woman to be in, I think.
I would ask this of guys too. Like you know, you're a married man.
Yeah.
In my experience, I barely sleep, but my girlfriend sleeps more than I do.
Oh yeah.
No, she's just pretending. She wants you to leave her alone.
My wife outsleeps me. I'm like, how are you still asleep? Like, I've been up for like 3 hours. What are you doing? Women do need more sleep on average. She's absolutely correct.
And this is another thing.
Wow, I mean, the sample size is really impressive there.
Too, for a long time, I think up until the early 90s, painkillers were only tested on men.
Mm-hmm.
And so these doctors were like, man, these women are so weak. They're complaining. We give them painkillers. And then they realized, oh, they don't work on women.
No,
it isn't that they don't work on them, but the dosage works differently because actually, like, metabolism is different. But what does this have to do with anything? We were like, what does this have to do with why men are not useless?
and I mean it's really interesting seeing how many like.
In fact, I mean the thing is, what he's pointing out there, which he does not want to acknowledge, is that actually medical science is sexist as hell, and that actually those studies on women and pain and like differential, like gender differential symptoms and differential diagnoses, what it's found is that often the presenting symptoms of very serious issues like heart attacks, for example, in women are not recognized by clinicians. They're not trained to they're not trained to recognize them. They will like send women who are having an active acute MI home, thinking that the pain that she's having, the anginal pain she's having, is actually just stress. So, which is an actual thing, but I'm not sure how. I mean, that's not exactly an example of men not being useless. Because who thought that they should do all these studies and not check to make sure that, not include enough women to make sure about these things? Yeah, well, no, they started out with the idea of, I mean, I think they were talking about Gilligan's Island, the way they described it. I mean, the things he's talking about there, with differences in response to painkillers and things like that, that is a real thing. It just does not help his point. Because it is all about how fucking sexist the medical profession is.
There are a lot of... There's this really great book called The Female Brain, and it was written by a neurobiologist, and she talks about the fact that, like, they used to just exclude women from studies because they'd be like, they mess up the data so great.
I mean... Now, I'm not familiar with the book, but I'm guessing that is probably evo-psych nonsense, actually. But what is true is that, yeah, women were excluded from studies on the grounds that women were somehow messing up the data because, the ranges were different. But again, like, this does not point to men not being useless. In fact, a big part of why this changed was precisely because women were in a position to start making decisions about how to design these studies and said, wait a second, it's kind of fucked up that 50% of the population isn't being accounted for when we try to understand the differential, what certain symptoms mean and how drugs work and all this shit.
But it's like, actually, their hormone cycle is completely different from men. Women go on a monthly hormone cycle.
Whereas I wonder if she's going to point out that men cycle multiple times a day.
That men don't experience at all.
No, she isn't. She got it totally wrong. Yeah, actually, men have the much more unstable hormone cycle as it happens. Men tend to cycle multiple times a day.
Men's hormones change with age and
Men's
under
is
stress
daily.
and stuff. Like, it's just so interesting that feminism is like, no, we don't need men, but also we're actually completely different. Like, we're
Yeah, I mean, you obviously can't, on the one hand, acknowledge that there are differences and not at the same time say that independent living is impossible for women somehow. Like, I mean, they're literally talking about a classic example of men actually being kind of fucking useless because of sexism, and it's just going right over their heads.
We're very, very different. Of course, you need men because they do a lot of stuff that you can't. Like, especially if
Like
you think
what? Like, name a thing. You haven't named a thing yet.
about like the reason men and women pair up is because women have to bear children, and you're in a much more vulnerable state. Like,
But women don't have to bear children.
it's good that we depend on each other, and I think this idea that like feminist.
Well, what's an example of a thing that women can't do that actually is necessary, though? I mean, like, you can't just say that. You gotta have an example.
Have created like, I don't need no man. The word need is such a trigger for them. They can't see it as like, hey, it is helpful to be in a partnership.
Yeah, but it isn't always helpful to be in a partnership. Some partnerships are not helpful.
Where you have people covering different bases so we can keep the species alive. Instead, they see it as it's all about them and how they perceive themselves as weak if they admit they need help.
It's interesting.
Help with what, though? Like, this is just...
No, because, you know, in the clip that we showed, in the full video, they ask men, do men need women? The men say yes.
Yeah.
But a man saying they need women...
Then why didn't you show us that, Tim?
is different. The guy, like, if you went to a guy and said, do you need a woman to survive? You could say, like, I guess emotionally life would not be fulfilling without a woman. No, like, no. In terms of resources, materials, getting
eating, like I mean,
a job. Do you need a woman? Well, no. I could figure it out. When men are asked, do you need women? They're talking about life fulfillment. And
but no. I mean, first of all, I love the idea that women are not talking about life fulfillment, but also the idea that these particular, like, hypothetical men he's making up here to make his point, rather than showing us the video that supposedly totally backs him up on this, that they are oblivious to the work that overwhelmingly is done by women, without which the shit they do would not be possible.
And starting a family, the things they want to achieve and accomplish with their lives can't be done without a woman. I think the way the women are taking it is, do you need a man in terms of surviving? And they're like, no, I don't need a man. As opposed to... I think that it's being viewed differently. Like,
well, yes, of course it's being viewed differently, because the idea that men can sort of handle things on their own is just sort of a default position in this culture, whereas the idea that women are completely lost without a man is something women have had to push back on for, like, literal fucking centuries. The idea that women actually... the idea that women actually can exist, and take care of themselves and shit is actually a relatively new idea you have to push back against. So yeah, obviously, when you ask, cis-het dudes these questions, and then they're gonna have a very different perspective that they're coming from, because the cultural context is just totally different.
Women internalize it as, I don't need a man to survive, which in the wilderness,
like, he's accidentally actually getting the point here. Like, 15 minutes in, it's like he's actually kind of come around and realized what the point is.
Man would have a higher rate of survival than a woman on their own, but men are looking at it more emotionally, and women are looking at it more materially.
And I think some of the girls they interview on the street, like, I bet all of them are really salty at some guy who has not texted them back.
Well, yeah, I mean, she makes a very good point. Probably a lot of these women have had a lot of bad experiences with men, and that kind of informs their relationship with the concept of men as a whole. I don't know that this necessarily helps the point they're trying to make here, but she does have a point.
You know what I mean? Like, it is fair to say that, like, women will assume more masculine responsibilities if they feel like there are not men in their lives they can depend on, right? So if you have a bad experience with men, and I think you talked about this a little bit, like, when there are not
like,
strong male leaders.
What are masculine responsibilities, first of all? Like, let's define that. But, I mean...
and there aren't fathers, and you're having, like, all these terrible romantic relationships, like, of course women become bitter and are like, I don't even want to deal with you guys.
So what she's saying there again is that women say these sort of things because they've been around a lot of shitty guys. But don't you realize that that shitty guys are your target audience here? Do they necessarily?
On the other hand, like let's not fool ourselves. Men and women need each other, and that's good.
What's crazy is the way they're dressed looks like they're really trying to attract a man.
Yeah, except that's not how that works, dude. You don't even know whether they're actually into men.
Like, that's the whole funny part of this. Like, you're not wearing that for you.
They're wearing it for other women.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, except, yes, actually, women do dress for ourselves. And actually, yeah, other women. I hate to, like, hand anything to Tim Pool that isn't about to explode. But, yeah, exactly. Because who actually fucking notices, for the most part, what like outfit you put together? For the most part, it isn't generally men who will remark on that if they do notice it. Like, so yeah, actually, this fucking Pillsbury poppin' fresh muffin shoulders here with a very tiny head doesn't. Yeah, surprisingly, does not.
That's true. Like makeup, plastic surgery. So, like. I'm not going to single any woman out, but there's a lot of videos and photos of women they have lip fillers.
I'm getting nervous in the room.
This is a totally normal thing that everybody does. Everybody has lip fillers and plastic surgery. And why is she getting nervous? I mean, I would get nervous in general if I were in a room with these three dudes. Like text my friends every 5 minutes nervous. Like avoid the wood chipper nervous. But what's she getting nervous about now?
I'm not talking about you. You don't have lip fillers.
I don't have lip fillers.
But there was this one woman who posted a TikTok, and she was like, "How come everybody is saying that I look like I'm 45? I'm 26." And they were like, "Oh, because of all the plastic surgery you got, you look like someone who's desperately trying to look 26."
Wow, I mean, there was a woman on TikTok. Therefore, we can draw broad conclusions.
Like a 45-year-old woman or a 50-year-old woman. She's like, "Oh my God." No guy, like rare guys. Because there are certainly guys who like a lot of different things. Some guys like morbidly obese chicks. Some guys like skinny chicks, whatever. Certainly some guys like the crazy plastic surgery. Most guys don't like it at all.
Like, do you really think that the only people who anyone gives a shit whose opinions matter on this? Well, of course they do. But, I mean, it's kind of interesting that we're talking about, like, taking excessive interest in one's appearance as, like, an exclusively female thing, when we've got this guy who probably pumps iron in between takes just to ensure that those fucking poppin' fresh muffins don't go down, who probably actually abstained from water until after they shot this, just to look like that.
Can you just imagine the guy who's like, "Yeah, I'd hit it, but man, her eyebrows aren't long enough.
And her lips aren't puffy enough."
You guys might need to ask Jeff Bezos. Some
guys like it, that's fine. But my point is, on average, when you go out and you're talking to guys are just like, regular looking women are fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? Thanks for watching this clip.
Jesus. Regular looking women are fine. Like, the fuck did what even was that? Okay, so that was The View says men are useless, and Tim Pool and company do not refute the point. They kind of demonstrate why somebody might think that. Yes, regular looking women. Oh, hola Oscar, ¿cómo estás? Well, sí, estamos viendo una weá del pelotudo Tim Pool que nos estaba explicando por qué los hombres no son inútiles. Rodeado por, él mismo es un weón totalmente nefasto, totalmente inútil, y se encuentra rodeado por weones inútiles para explicarnos por qué las mujeres nos equivocamos al decir que podemos sobrevivir sin ellos. Din huevo ni así. So that, yeah. That's okay, but we got another half hour to go. And we got all sorts of bullshit to look at here. Spring breakers don't know what Easter is. Spring breakers don't know what Easter is. I'm kind of curious about this. This is Kent State Gun Girl. And I'm very curious, this is part of her new grift where she's realized that the money just isn't there to be a right-wing atheist anymore, and so now she's doing a Christian arc. I think we gotta look at this. Because after all, I mean, it is important to know what Easter is. It is when Jesus' lawyer, who was a rabbit, went around laying eggs that were supposed to be used. Caitlin Bennett. Yes, thank you. I knew it was Caitlin something. I even specifically looked it up, but then I forgot because she's kind of forgettable. But okay, this is Spring Breakers don't know what Easter is. And let me just say, loving how
why do people celebrate Easter?
Loving how she does not put anything in all caps. That is such a rarity. So, okay, so she's asking a dude with a crucifix why people celebrate Easter. I'm guessing a dude with a crucifix might have some ideas on the subject.
Easter?
I couldn't tell you.
Why do people celebrate?
Yeah, so the idea, she's gotten better at deceptively editing. I have a feeling that was not the end of it. Either that or the guy's actually taking the piss.
Celebrate Easter?
I don't know.
You know. I know.
I swear I don't know. I promise you I don't know.
Like, he's literally, they're taking the piss here. She's getting the piss taken out of her. Everybody knows who she is, and they're taking the piss.
I actually don't know.
Why do people celebrate Easter?
I don't know.
Yeah, so what? Okay, so he's got a fucking Christian tattoo there. So that suggests that maybe he does know, and he's taking the piss out of you, Caitlin.
What does Easter mean to you?
Because that is kind of that is the thread that unites her oeuvre. That is the thread. She goes around and tries to do this kind of bullshit content, and just constantly gets clowned on.
Easter means freedom to me. It's just a time to get out, spend with family, celebrate, have fun with some kids, friends. Just go have something to do, you know?
Yeah, I mean, she asked why people celebrate Easter. She didn't ask what Easter was, so he said why he celebrates it.
Right. That sounds more like 4th of July. Is there one person that comes to mind when you think of Easter?
Not one in specific, just mostly family.
Like, that's like, this is really reaching. This
Happy Easter, everybody! We are here in Clearwater today to figure.
Clearwater. Oh, Scientology headquarters. This is where the Sea Org is. Scientology basically owns all this shit.
Out if people know why we celebrate Easter and what it all means. Let's go find out.
We got her over here on camera. She's doing her damn thing. How about you guys subscribe to Liberty Hangout?
No, let's not actually.
How about you guys go ahead and give a sub, a like, and damn near maybe even a couple video watches because we're gonna show you guys how a good time goes down. Liberty!
Did you know there's an opportunity to talk to me one-on-one in my private Facebook group?
God, what? I mean, and she takes money for this. Like, I would pay her money to ensure that I never had the opportunity to talk to her one-on-one.
You can gain access by donating $5 a month to me at patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett. Like-minded people are there. We talk all the time. It's great.
Yeah, God, like-minded people too. I mean, it was already bad enough when it was just going to be her, but like the sort of people who would pay money to interact with her. Shit, yeah, that's a hard pass. But let me just tell you, I've got this great project I'm working on to translate the writings of Inessa Armand, Alexander Kollontai's predecessor at the Grenadier of the Bolsheviks, whose work has never been translated, and I'm trying to change that. I've done 4 essays of hers, and that is both a way to sort of do something worthwhile and also try to keep my head above water, since this is a really rough time for me at the moment. So any signal boosting and contributions always very much appreciated, and I will never, no matter, I will never put you in a room with people who voluntarily spend time with Caitlin Bennett.
Sign up and I'll see you there. Why do people celebrate Easter?
April the 1st.
What?
April the 1st.
Nope.
Well, he heard when, she said why.
What is Easter? Do you know what Easter is?
Yes.
Why do people celebrate it?
Those are 2 different fucking questions, though. I mean, what it is does not actually tell me why people celebrate it. There are plenty of fucking holidays nobody celebrates at all anymore, but that doesn't change the fact that they are things. Like, knowing what they are does not mean that somebody celebrates them.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Does it have anything to do with Jesus?
Oh yeah, it does.
Go on.
They do it for Psalm Sunday, I think it is, Palm Sunday.
Like, do we... of course, she does not actually check what any of these people's religion even is.
It's kind of in the same.
Passover?
Close. What happened on?
No, not. I mean, time-wise, it's close, but thematically, Passover and Easter are totally fucking unrelated.
Easter Sunday.
He was resurrected.
There we go. Now you knew the answer all along. Perfect.
No, well, you didn't ask the right fucking question.
Are you a Christian?
Yes.
All right. You got some work to do there, but.
Well, no, you kept on asking questions that did not. I mean, this is so wild. All she's doing is demonstrating that she's not a very good interviewer.
I'm just kidding. You got this. Why do people celebrate Easter?
Why people celebrate? I don't know.
Again, that's not the same thing. He's asking why that's just fucking hell. She's asking a completely different question. This is.
You want to phone a friend?
Hey.
All right, we need to phone a friend. Do we have a friend for this gentleman over here? Anybody want to phone a friend, sir? Can you phoning a friend? I think you're on your.
Why does anyone this is just such nothing content. Like, let's just assume that every single person at this place did not actually know what Easter was about. I don't actually buy that, but who gives a shit? Like, seriously, I mean, who gives a shit?
Your own.
Oh man.
What other life?
All right, next question.
Your friends abandon you.
Oh yeah, they don't want to be on camera with your ass.
You gonna abandon me, bro?
You know what? Let's walk over to him.
All right, let's go over here.
All right. Since you want to abandon your friend, we're putting you in the spotlight. Why do people celebrate Easter?
I don't know. You know. I know. I swear
But
I don't know. I promise you I don't know.
Hey.
Like, who cares?
I actually don't know.
It's cause Jesus was born, right? Reborn, something came up for something.
I don't know, bro.
I remember it, man. It's something like that. It's something like that.
Like, who cares? Okay.
I'm there. I'm close.
Yeah, you're pretty much
That's all.
right.
Yeah.
You're pretty much right.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Did you know that? You know Jesus resurrected?
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay.
Sí, que bueno, al tercer día le acogieron el recurso de amparo y lo sacaron.
You just didn't know what happened. That's why we celebrate Easter.
Yeah, basically.
Alright. How long have you been a Playboy bunny?
What?
Probably about 69 years.
Good for you. A young Hugh Hefner over here.
What the? Okay. Should we stay with this chat? We've still got 20 minutes here. Are we staying with this, or there's some, or we could look at some other bullshit? I will leave it up to you. This is getting a little bit repetitive.
Here, I love it. All right, there we go. Why do people celebrate Easter?
I couldn't tell you.
That's not the
rise of Christ or something. I don't know. It has something to do with Christ.
Does anybody know why we celebrate Easter?
Oh, that might be a Scientology cross. No, it isn't. I don't think it actually is. Scientology has a cross-related symbol, but I don't think that's actually it. Oh, Caitlyn goes to Pride. This should be good. She's gonna try to, like, fucking troll LGBT people. She has... Yeah, exactly. That's why I think we're gonna do better with this one.
I personally am putting children in harm's way by dressing up in a wig, by wearing a heel. I personally am putting children...
Look, not only did she keep this in, somebody totally clowning on her, she has made it the highlight for the intro.
Harms by reading them a book in a wig. I personally put children in harm's way as someone who is beautiful and stunning and likes to be happy and likes to, you know, hold hands with a boy.
I just like to feel comfortable in my skin, so I just wear whatever I want, and especially
like, okay, so people are just, okay, this is very classic Caitlyn Bennett content here, because she's trying to get a quote that she can take out of context, and all she's getting is people pointing out how, you know, basically just pointing out
during big events, I like to just dress how I feel.
All right, well, you do think men can get pregnant?
Yeah, I believe that trans men can get pregnant. I'm trying to get pregnant right now, and I'm a trans man, so yes.
Yeah, like, literally, she should, these are, not a single one of these is what you would actually keep in the video if you were trying to, like, I mean, we just saw, she does know how to selectively edit. Because there is no way in fucking Florida that every single person she talked to at the beach genuinely had no idea, had nothing to say when she asked them about Easter, but yeah, I never heard of that. There's no way. So she knows how to do a deceptive edit, but for some reason she's chosen to leave all these people in who are totally clowning on her.
I, as a gay person, only want the worst for people. Hello.
So what brought you guys out here today to celebrate Pride?
Well, I'm not allowed to celebrate Pride in my house, but now that I'm 18, I'm able to, like, and I got my own car and everything, I'm able to go...
Like, this is not one you'd want to leave in. This is literally, so she's admitting, like, now we've got, okay, somebody making fun of the idea that there's anything sinister about having drag queens read kids' stories. We had somebody just saying they dress how they, like, well, you know, in the way that makes them feel good. And we had somebody say, yeah, of course trans men could get pregnant, because that's just fucking true. And now we've got somebody saying, yeah, actually they can, there's celebrating Pride, because they can't do it at home. Which kind of is the opposite of the narrative that someone like Caitlyn Bennett's usually trying to push.
Go out, and so I kind of just gathered up my friends. I was like, hey, let's just not tell my parents where we're going and just have some fun.
So hopefully they don't watch this video. We'll just blur out your face.
Oh, fuck you. Okay, that is fucked up. So she literally said, Does she know, like, okay, so she's only, like, 18? Maybe doesn't know who this even is? And just had it suggested that her face is going to be blurred and like, so her right-wing parents wouldn't get her into difficulties? And she's not doing that? Okay, that's actually deeply fucked up.
I just wanted to
I hope it's
hang
like actionably fucked up so that Caitlyn Bennett can end up losing more money.
out with my friends, and I've never been to a Pride event before, so I was kind of excited. I was like, it's my first time, and
Yeah, exactly.
Those are my only two reasons.
That is literally the whole thing. That is the whole thing. She has literally never owned anyone. All she does is provide the most low-hanging fruit that anyone can easily bull right back at her.
Reasons I was like friends.
That was a really badly mixed metaphor. We're bullying low-hanging fruit back at people. What kind of weird-ass cricket game is this?
Then my first time, so why not?
Great. I think it's awesome people getting together and celebrating themselves, and people need to be more accepting, more open, and everyone needs to love themselves, no matter if you're not gay or you're straight or cis. You know, everyone should find love within themselves, and I think Pride.
Like, why does she think that this is actually good for her to keep this in?
Is not just about celebrating gay people. It's about celebrating everyone's love for themselves. But just
see, okay, I think that's actually. I mean, not just about gay people, yes, because of course you got bi people, you got trans people, there's a whole like fucking rainbow, I think you could say. But I don't. It's like but it's like it. It is specifically queer people though.
Showing that extra special care for the gay community.
My name's Kate. What's your name?
I actually know you.
You know me?
Oh, okay, this could be good. With the people who actually recognize her are usually the best.
I watch content of you all the time.
Well, thank.
Notice the way she said that. Oh, well, no, sorry. He's a trans man. I like literally just saw that. Yeah, notice the way he saw that. He said that. Content of you. Not your content. Content of you. I am making content of her right now.
Thank you so much.
I don't watch your content necessarily, but
see, this is what I'm talking about.
That means
I wouldn't leave that in. See, personally,
watches the
Is she got some sort of? Has Caitlyn got some kind of fucking humiliation kink that she's acting out here?
clipped up content of me to display me as something I am or am not.
Well, no, it is what you am.
full videos. We do. Yeah, we do.
Thank you. You know, when you watch a full video,
It shows the full content.
it does full, yeah.
The full person.
It also supports me, so I appreciate.
No, it actually doesn't support you because guess what? If they're watching content of you, you're not getting that view. Caitlyn Bennett is, there are 10 people watching, 11 people watching right now, according to my little restream tracker here. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in. It's always good to see chat be lively. But okay, so that's 11 views that Caitlyn Bennett is not getting. Caitlyn Bennett is getting exactly one view, namely mine. And I am then sort of putting her stuff through my own little patented meat grinder here.
Supporting me like that.
I don't, but I mean the people I watch do.
Well, you financially support
Close
me when
enough.
you watch my full
Close
content,
enough,
so.
right?
Thank you so much. All right, so why are you here today?
I'm here because I am trans, and
Oh, okay.
I wanted to go to Pride because I'm proud of my identity.
I'm Cindy, and mine are she.
Thank you for sharing that with me. So we're here at Pride in the Park, and I basically just wanted to get your thoughts on why you thought it was important to come out today and show your pride.
I have gay members in my family, including my daughter, and my shirt says.
Yes, that's what caught my attention. What's your shirt say?
proud mom of a freaking awesome gay daughter.
Okay, what brought you out here today?
Yeah, like, okay.
I wanted to hang out with my friends. I've actually been here twice today. I went home and got changed. So
This was like a week-long event.
Yeah.
So have you been here for several other events?
No, only today. It's comfortable in my skin too, and just feel comfortable. And
like, does she? The whole point of this is, like, she is literally just at this point, making content for the people that she is actually trying to make content against. Because this is literally, like, she's just not very good at this. That is really the key thing to know about Caitlin Bennett. For somebody whose living is based on making the content, she's not good at doing it. She does not. It's like she's never actually looked into how people, like, because it's like the right-wing bullshitosphere is full of people whose entire thing is to ask suggestive questions of people they think are liberals or whatever, or queer people or whatever, that they can then clip up for content. And she's just extremely bad at it. And she's been doing it for a while now, too. So you would think she would actually have achieved some level of skill.
so I don't know, everything just draws me. This is my, like, a lot. I've been to Pride multiple times. I've been to one over in Ohio and all that. It's really great.
Wonderful.
It's a great.
So you said you went home and got changed. Did you get changed into this?
Yes.
Okay, explain this
well, of course.
for me, because I don't think a lot of people will understand.
I don't know. I just like to feel comfortable in my skin, so I just wear whatever I want.
Like, this is
and especially during big events.
Accidentally wholesome content here that she's making, and I feel like the need to let people to explain, she is not a friend to the LGBT community, not intentionally. She actually, I mean, she is like a far right grifter, but she's just so bad at it that she is accidentally making content that is actually, like, advertising why Pride is important.
To just dress how I feel.
Okay.
And so, this was just for fun.
Okay.
I love collars,
I mean,
so I
this
wear
is
those.
a wholesome scene.
But everything else is just kind of Pride, whatever I feel comfortable in.
Why are you here today
Love the hair color. Absolutely love the hair color.
at Pride in the Park?
So I actually just experienced my own coming out this year. I have been married for 12 years, happily adore my husband, but also a very bi into women kind of person. My husband is gay. I'm so sorry. My husband is...
Yeah, she actually does. And the thing is, it's like, you can do that if you can ask the right kind of questions to get the right kind of answers that you can then turn into gotcha stuff. But instead, she can't ask the right questions. Yeah, I mean, I love multicolored hair. That rocks. And I particularly love, I mean, the guys in the internet who will be like, yeah, look, you're turning men off with this. It's so totally, you have to reconsider your hair color because you're turning me off. And it's like, wow, can I get that in writing? That makes me want to do it even more.
He's not gay. He will kill me for that. My dad is gay, and he's never come to any of these events either because he's always had to be so sheltered. He lives in a very small town where it's just very personal. So being able to come here for myself, yes, but also just showing the support for my family and everyone else, like, that is what matters most. And the more of us that come out.
I mean, does she think that this is actually helping her cause? To give it, I don't think she entirely understands what she does.
To these events, the less of the negative people are going to be seen.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're talking to one of the negative people. She's just really bad at it.
Feeling good? Yeah. I don't need to be talked to. Are y'all good?
Yeah.
Good. Are you having a happy Pride?
Yeah.
Good, are you enjoying it?
Are you having a happy Pride?
I'm having a lovely Pride.
It's beautiful today, isn't it? The rain went away, like, what a blessing that we were actually able to come out here today.
Yes. I would love to give you some candy, some free t-shirts if you want. We have some awesome
so
stuff.
once we're done, make sure you find him so you can get those free things, right? Like, wow, how lucky are you guys that you got free things today? That's pretty awesome. I will talk to you in a second because we don't want to be rude because we don't want to get in front of these people. So you
I mean, she wants to be rude, though she's just bad at it. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, that is the wild thing. If you did not know who she is and what her entire thing is, you would easily just think that this is just a straight interview. Because she is so bad at getting her angle. And the best part is when people, I love it when people actually recognize her and decide to clown on her. Like, dude over here is going to do we've already seen a beautiful job of it. But it looks like it is time to start wrapping up. So thank you to everyone who joined in. It's always lovely to see you. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Let me drop the Discord link in chat, just in case there's anyone in chat who is not already there and would like to be there. Invite people. There we go. No, I don't think she's afraid to ask mean questions. I don't think she's good at it, and she never has been. Like, I've seen content from her from like 6 or 7 years ago, and she's not that great at it then either. She does not, it's like she does not know how to make her thing, to actually get her angle in. And then she doesn't know how to do it in the editing either. But, okay. So, I mean, and if you have ideas for things to watch tomorrow night at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, I'd love to hear those as well. So, have a good night, and, well, that. See you tomorrow.